Hi, I'm Paula.
I'm David.
Welcome to David's Wealth of Knowledge. Today's topic is the Mary Celeste. David, please tell us about the Mary Celeste.
Okay, so when I was younger, I had a book talking about sea mysteries and so on. And one of the things listed was the Mary Celeste. She's most famous for being found abandoned by her crew back in 1870s. Okay, but let's go back a bit. Okay, so the Mary Celeste was built in 1860. Her original name was the Amazon. Okay, she operated in the Caribbean off the American coast. She crossed the Atlantic. She was about 100 meters long, two-master brigantine. And she operated for a while under the name Amazon. Then she had an accident, but she ran aground. And then she was bought up by a bunch of investors who had her rebuilt and repaired, and named her the Mary Celeste. And she operated for a while, okay, for a year or so, I think, before her fateful voyage. Now, there's a lot of detail here. So, essentially what happened is, in late November, okay, the Mary Celeste departs New York, heading for Portugal, carrying a load of alcohol, 1,701 barrels of alcohol. She left New York on about the 7th of November. She was supposed to leave earlier, but there was some bad weather, so they delayed the trip. On board was the captain, his wife, his 2-year-old daughter, and 6 other crew. 7 other crew. They're all well experienced. They all had good reputations. The captain, before he left, was very satisfied with the crew and corresponds with family. He basically said he was really looking forward to the trip, and there wasn't any sign of anything out of place. Okay. And so the ship was making its way across the Atlantic. Okay. A couple of days behind her was a ship called the Dei Gracia, or also a small ship. But on the 4th of December, okay, the Dei Gracia spotted a ship adrift. Okay. Close to her position, they sent out the first mate and second mate on one of the rowboats, and they discovered it was the Mary Celeste. They came on board the ship, and they found no one on board. Okay, the ship was in decent condition. Okay, there was some. The rigging was a little messy. There was water in the hull, but not sufficient enough to make it look like it was sinking or anything like that. The crew quarters and cabins were damp, but that was to be expected because the ship, the cargo hold doors on the top deck were open and to be expected from rain and so on. So nothing untoward. The captain's navigational instruments were missing, but there was still a fair amount of personal effects on board. So, they didn't know then what had happened to the crew. Okay, the ship was salvaged, towed to Gibraltar, where a commission did an investigation on what the cause was. Okay. Also missing from the ship was the ship's yawl, which is a small life raft, but that was about it. Okay, there was no signs of struggle. There's no damage to the ship, and serious damage to the ship in any way. It was just abandoned. So the commission investigated, and while the head of the commission favoured an excuse or an explanation of something nefarious happening, the crew taking over the ship or pirates or something else, there was very little evidence, and later investigations showed there was no real evidence of it at all. And subsequent investigations have struggled to explain the cause. Okay, I mean, the captain, Captain Briggs, was experienced. I mean, he wouldn't have panicked or made hasty decisions. I mean, especially if we had this 2-year-old daughter aboard. Okay. And so, yeah, it's been one of the great mysteries ever since. Post the investigation, the ship was put back into service, and a couple of years later, it was sold, and then used in a insurance fraud scheme where it was run aground deliberately, okay, and wrecked beyond repair. But the story of the Mary Celeste is one of these stories that has persisted to the modern day. It became famous. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a story about it, where it was part fact, part fiction, which helped publicize the case. And there have been other things since then which have helped keep the memory alive. Modern ideas about what it caused the crew to abandon the ship. Some believe it was the carrying the alcohol. There was a test done where they actually released some alcohol gas, some butane actually, in a model of the ship, and let it go off. And they were, contrary to what they were expecting, there was very little damage to model the ship, and I think that might have caused the captain maybe to panic and use the life raft to keep the crew safe, and then the life raft got detached and they never got caught up to the ship. It's interesting because, like, for example, the ship had been drifting for at least 10 days on its own, because of the last recorded log and was 10 days previous to when it was found by the Dei Gracia. Yeah, so there's a huge mystery, and probably one we're never going to solve. But yeah, it's always been a story that's fascinated me ever since I was little. And yeah, I was reminded about it the other day, so I thought I'd talk about it now. Anyway, yeah, so sea mysteries, always something fascinating.
Thank you. That shall be something that fascinates me now too. Okay, please like and subscribe.